Hi, what we're going to learn in this session is how to set up tax districts for sales tax and use tax. And since there's more than one place that we can do that, we're going to take a look first at the three areas where we can access those tables to be set up. Two of them reside in Accounts Receivable, Menu 3, and Jobs. Jobs, Sales Tax District, and Receivable Clients, also a tax district. The third place is in Accounts Payable. Again, we're using the same table for sales tax and use tax. So we go into the vendor record, and we can see on the vendor record we have a tax district. So the three places: 3.5 Jobs, 3.6 Receivable Clients, and 4.4 Vendors. Okay, when we're in the tax district field and we go to the right, we can go to the display lookup window. What we're looking at when we're opening the lookup window is a representation of what's been set up in the sample data. Everyone could potentially have different sets of tax tables. If you're new to the program, this is going to be empty. You create this. You can sort on the tax district number. You can sort on the tax district name to help you find the information. So how do we set it up? How do we find it? I'm going to close the lookup window, and to the right of the display lookup window, we see View Add Records. We can click on that, and it opens our tax districts. So to set up your tax districts, you need a district number and a district name at minimum. The district itself determines what is and isn't taxable based on cost types. So as we look to the right, we can see material, labor, equipment, subcontract, and if I continue to scroll over, we've got up through cost type 9. So cost type 6 through 9 are user definable, and it's merely a yes or no. What is taxable and what is not? So for those of you that are in Washington State and you're using time and material billings, we're going to be calculating profits and we're going to be basing taxes. Is tax applicable in this case? Well, if you're in Washington State, it would be a yes. So make sure that you scroll all the way to the right to fill that information in. So what we've learned so far is we've learned that the tax district determines what is and is not taxable based on the cost type. The tax district also carries tax entities, and we can add up to 5 different tax entities on the district. It's the entity itself that carries the tax rate. So in the example that we're seeing here, notice that tax entity 1, the majority are Washington State, because Washington State has a state rate. And then entity 2 has a local rate. But how do we access that to set them up? Well, I'm going to take a look at Camas, Washington. Notice for Camas, Washington, it is District 602. We've also set up an entity 602. And then we've determined that everything is taxable in Camas, Washington. So now I want to get to the entities because I want to make a change. If I go to Washington State and right-click, I can see that I can display the detail or add a record, I could also use the shortcut key F6 if I knew about that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select to add the detail. It takes us to tax entity 1, which is Washington State, and I've got a two-character state name and the tax rate. So the tax rate applies for all districts. Then if I go down to look at Camas, Washington, it carries a rate of 1.7. The 1.7 added to the state rate of 6.5 is 8.2%. And I know that my tax is changing, and it's going to be 8.4%. So what I need to do is I need to go into the tax rate and change that to 1.9%. So the two entities that I have on Camas are Washington State and Camas. So whatever the rates are on the entities added together will be our total tax. Keep in mind that when you're making any changes, to make sure that you save those changes. And as I save the change, it closes the table and it backs out to our point of origin. You now know how to access the tax districts as well as the tax entities. Set them up. We've got some rate changes coming up. Keep in mind that when you change your tax tables is when those calculations will start using those new rates. So don't do it prematurely. Be timely on the changes, and you now know how to set up tax tables and maintain them. Thanks for joining us.